Welcome back to the show. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of The State of Loud. The State of Loud, the State of Loud, the State of Loud, the State of Loud, State of Loud, State of Loud, the State of Loud. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A State of Loud. I am your host, Christopher Jefferson, and joining me, as always, is the one and only, the bike ride man himself, coming all the way from the south side up into the studio, Mr. AJX Beast. What's going on, my guy? How are you?
What's going on, people? What's going on, people? How you doing, man?
Welcome back to the show, AJ. How's your week going?
Pretty good, man. I can't complain. Back in school, doing school stuff, and working.
School days and working.
School days.
Productive young sir.
Crazy.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Not sitting around playing video games. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you are. Wow, that grin says it all. Now I'm just saying.
I played one time during the weekend.
I'm not mad at it. We all need leisure.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I'm not mad at it. But ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to have you guys back on the show. As always, we have another amazing guest to bring to you guys. She is a Jersey City resident, a school teacher, a community activist, someone who my organization has been more than proud to support in all of her ventures. She does back to school drives. She does fall events. She is the host of Mocha Mike with Millie, which meets every third Thursday of every month. Just a joy to have around, doing amazing things in the community. Someone you should definitely check out. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Millie to the show.
Hello.
Hey, now welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So happy to have you on. I know we've been doing this for quite a while. And it's funny. We've supported a lot of events that you've done in the community, worked together on a lot of different things, but we never had you on the show. So it's been a long time coming. But how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. So happy to be here.
Good. We're definitely happy to have you. Now, you have a lot going on because literally, I know last event you had was on Juneteenth, was amazing. You had a lot of different type of artists there. There was poetry, there was spoken word, there were visual artists, there were painters, there were photographers, videographers, there were DJ, food, everything was there. It was a complete cultural experience in Jersey City. What else do you have going on right now?
Well, as always, I have my Mocha Mike with Millie event. It's actually happening tomorrow.
Yes.
July 18th at Delish Juice Bar. I like to collaborate with local businesses for my open mics because it's very important for us to all share all of the love and spotlight each other and highlight each other. So that's happening tomorrow. And also I'm planning for my fall pumpkin patch event.
Yes, I do remember.
Yes, it's going to be my third year in a row having it.
Nice.
I will be having it at the Common Earth Company, which is where I had my Juneteenth event.
Okay.
Yes, so they have that beautiful backyard space, and we're going to be giving away pumpkins. There's going to be pumpkin picking, also fun arts and crafts, and just the whole thing. So the thinking behind that event was that many children in the area, specifically Greenville, Bergen, Lafayette, do not have access to transportation and or just the resources to go to a pumpkin patch. So why not bring that experience to them?
Yes, absolutely. I love that
perfect.
message, seriously, because we often talk about how exposure is so important. And if you aren't exposed or even made aware of certain things, it definitely affects the way you grow up and realizing that there's so much more in the world to do. With that type of event and doing that, what was the thinking, like you said, of bringing that type of event to some of the youth of Jersey City?
So for the first year, I actually collaborated with a friend of mine who had a shop over at Jackson Hill Shops. So she wanted to create that event, and I helped her a lot with the planning because she said, you know what, Millie, I've never been to a pumpkin patch.
Okay.
She's like, I'm 37 years old, and I've never been to one. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
She was like, growing up, we just didn't have the means to go to one. So I want to help bring that here. And she helped me. And I was like, absolutely. Because it never really dawned on me. And that's my good friend, Marielle from Leela's Plants. She's an amazing person. She cultivates plants, and she also sells plants if you ever want to check her out.
Yes.
And when she told me that, I was like, oh, my gosh, like, I want to help. And it's really amazing when you talk to other people who've had different experiences, how they're able to bring up things that you've never thought about.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that kind of like, just hearing that at 37, you've never been to a pumpkin patch. Yet someone that probably has gone often is like, what do you mean? You can just drive here and then you can immediately find it. And I feel like there's probably so many people that have missed out on some, what we may consider small interactions. I know, oh man, I remember I had a friend that has never flown a kite in their life. And I remember being a kid. Yeah. I mean, AJ, you flown a kite?
Yeah. Right at Liberty Park. I remember those days.
That's where I started. I remember it was one of my biggest childhood memories was flying a kite in Liberty State Park.
Running with the kite.
Never did. And it kind of, I feel like it's a nuance of life. Certain things you kind of accompany with childhood, with youth and growing up, even small experiences. And I feel like they even make bigger impacts when you're an adult and you do that. Now, since you were bringing the pumpkin patch to her, what was her experience seeing that just at a later part of her life?
She was really blown away by the amount of people that came through
Mm.
and the amount of people, me as well. I was really blown away by some of the commentary that some of the families had mentioned, how they couldn't believe it was here. They were like, wow, I don't have to spend this much money to go somewhere else. And oftentimes when you're met with these limitations, you go somewhere where you might not feel as comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's a lot of power in bringing something to the community for them to enjoy, where it's like, you know your neighbor, you know
Yeah.
this person. So they were just like so excited, and they were like, "Are you gonna do it again next year?
Yeah.
Do it again next year. I want to volunteer."
Yeah.
There's a woman, and I always forget her name, but her daughter has been there 2 years in a row.
Okay.
And she's like, "I'm following you. I want to come
Yeah.
to the event." And her daughter, like for my flyers, she's so cute. She's always like featured, and she's like always like picking up the pumpkin. It's like bigger than her, but the fact that they look forward to it and they know that they're deserving
Absolutely.
of all of this merriment. Another thing I've heard from many people is that they don't always feel welcome going to certain parts of Jersey City because they feel like whatever is happening there is only for certain people.
Wow.
And I'm very much a believer that your zip code shouldn't limit you from having access to merriment and joy.
Yes.
So
Yes. Say it again. Say it again. I almost didn't want to let that pass. I was like, no, we can't just walk past that. Oh my goodness.
let
You're
me
very right.
remember,
Please
yes.
continue.
Yeah, your zip code shouldn't limit you to having access to merriment and joy. So
Yes.
I'm all about like, let's bring that here. Just because you live in Greenville or you live like, what is it in a name? A lot of people associate being from a certain place with not having anything or having little or only being used to whatever or not great events or
Yeah.
just you should just be happy because you have it.
Mm.
No, it's about bringing quality because everyone's deserving and you know they should have the access. There is no reason. So I feel like with what I do and also what you guys do, we're helping to fill in those gaps that exist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you included the word quality in there because so often when you're doing community work, people are quick to donate the things they no longer need, regardless of the condition it's in. Like, well, I don't need this. Somebody else can benefit from it. And as very true, there are many times people can benefit from what you don't need, but it's all the quality is often a last thought when it comes to anything, even when bringing events, right? That can be hosted by the city or other organizations. And I feel like that's a vital part as well because you're almost showing people like they're deserving. Like you said, they're absolutely deserving, no matter where you live and where you come from. So, I mean, with all the amazing things that you're doing in the community, I do have to ask, like, how did you get started doing all of this? Because it's not, for me at least, what I've learned, no one just kind of wakes up one day and be like, I'm just going to start bringing pumpkin patches here. Like, it's always a lot more to it than that. But what was kind of your road, or where did it start for you that you knew you wanted to do this type of work?
Absolutely. So I've always like done community work, like especially with my mom. We used to volunteer at soup kitchens, and we were always like, 'cause my family is from Ghana, so I'm a first generation Ghanaian American from Brooklyn.
Okay.
I'm always, shouting out Brooklyn.
Yes,
because,
yes. Shout out Brooklyn.
yes, you
yes.
know, all right, all day, every day. But so growing up in Brooklyn and also in Ghana, we would always send home a barrel. Not too sure if you're familiar with that. So we take all the clothes and all of like the different items and put it in a barrel and send it home to family and also friends and other people that need. And I guess I was just, that community spirit.
Yes.
Going to Ghana during summers and also living there for many years. It's very much about collectivism. Whereas, in this country, sometimes it's very much about the individual.
Yes.
So it's, once again, the work we do is so important because we're able to show that, hey, we don't have to hoard and we can all share and be together and build that community that's needed.
Yes.
Especially during times like this.
Absolutely.
But so that's always been ingrained in me. And also during the pandemic, that was definitely a time where I stopped teaching. My daughter was 2. And I was just like, I need to focus on my daughter. Like, it really helped to highlight moments that we miss and that we take for granted because it's just ingrained in us, this hustle and having to work and just, being all I can be and being so productive. And at the end of the day, you're missing out on family moments that are really, really important. So I fell back in love with poetry,
Okay.
and I also started to volunteer with a few different local organizations that
Okay.
deal with food insecurity and also helping the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like so happy to help out and really make a difference because so many people needed during that time. And I was,
Absolutely.
very grateful to be in a good place. But I feel like all of the help we gave each other, it helped to make people conscious of helping their neighbor.
Mm.
And then I fell back in love with poetry. I started to attend some Zoom open mics and get to know people and also go to other open mics when things started to open up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a minute. I can not only work with these people, but do the events and curate the events the way that I
Yes.
want it to be. Because have a very serious attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's a certain way that, I'm sure you can attest to that, the way you want to have things organized and structured.
Absolutely.
So got into that with contacts and meeting different people. And it's very important, I think, in everything you do to be social and try to get to know people.
Absolutely.
I can't even recall how we met. I think we met through, man, I feel like
It was at an event.
3 years ago.
It was old. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was at some event. I can't remember anymore.
Was it at the
There's
book
been a
bag
lot of
event?
events.
Did we meet before that in Audubon Park?
Oh my God. See, Audubon Park, that was the one with Monica Shaw?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Is that when we
That
met?
was like, oh my God.
That was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God.
See, I wasn't even in the picture
Yeah.
yet.
No, I don't even think I don't even know if I had mentors 3 years ago.
Yo,
Mentees, I should say.
it was starting. You probably wasn't even.
I think Fode was the only person.
Yeah, it was full day because I know
still hanging
he
out
was-
with me.
Yeah,
Like, and then it was.
got us in.
Yeah, it was literally like Fode was like, that was the beginning where I was mentoring Fode and he's like, you got to meet all these guys. Yeah, I had like no crew.
And
at
then I
all.
pulled up with Dane when he was the cameraman. Remember
Oh
that?
my God, 3
Yo,
years
good
ago.
times, yo.
And look at your origin story, right?
Yeah,
There we
it's
go.
kind of wild, but to your point, right?
Yeah.
How connecting with people, being social, and just being in the environment of giving back, you can connect the pieces to make even a bigger impact. Because like I think a lot of people don't realize, like when you are a curator like yourself and you are putting together events for people, and the detail is a bigger factor for you, you're taking on a lot by yourself. If you don't have the support of different community members, of vendors, of sponsors, you're bringing everything on yourself. And that can be an extremely daunting task, especially like you said, you have your daughter, like you want to spend time with your family. I would say it's like having 2 full-time jobs. Because if you go to work during the day and you're doing something for the community, it can be a lot to take on. So I definitely commend you for doing that with everything. But yeah, I remember having that book bag drive and getting started, and with myself as well. But I've noticed that you have a wide net that you cast of people that you work with. It's something that working throughout the county, I found that there are a lot of people in the space, but not everyone doing so much hands-on work. So what was kind of like your approach when you got started to be like, all right, I'm in this space, I want to keep growing, I want to partner with people, which way do I go? Like, what was your thought process behind that?
So honestly, in the beginning, it was very much everywhere, all over the place.
Okay, all right.
Because you kind of don't know who is who.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I found to be very interesting, since I'm not from Jersey City or Jersey in general,
Mm-hmm.
is that a lot of people are very skittish and skeptical. Because, I think that they've had like different, encounters with people, especially
Yes.
from New York. And it's like, I don't know if you're coming here to change everything or really contribute, or you're going to be here for long.
Yeah,
And I definitely understand that stranger danger type of scenario because
absolutely.
I was definitely one of those people that was like, wait, my whole neighborhood is changing.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot afford to live here.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go. And that was
Yeah.
like 10 and a half years ago. That's
Wow.
how long I've been in Jersey City.
Wow.
So I do understand that. But, oh, yeah, it was like really, really crazy in Brooklyn.
Yo.
We like looked everywhere, except the Bronx, because, if you're from New York, you already know. We don't do the Bronx. No, shout out to my Bronx people.
Ain't
Y'all
nothing
cool,
wrong with
though.
it. Hey, what's
Y'all
going
cool,
on
y'all
out,
cool,
y'all?
Y'all cool. But I'm just saying, we looked in Queens. We were like, hold on, we can't afford. But it was definitely like a few people who it took them some time to really be like, okay, you're here to stay and you're doing good.
Yep.
But I guess through trial and error, it was
Yeah.
like, okay, I can navigate with this person. I'm not too sure our styles or beliefs align.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about me. I'm very, very intentional with who I partner with. Very intentional. Why? Because it is very important to me to make sure that I'm working with someone who it's organic. And
Yes.
they're in it for the right reasons.
Yes.
Not a photo.
Yes. Oh my.
Not to say, hey, I'm helping out this Black person today.
Oh yeah. No.
You know what that sound like?
Put that on a clip. Put that on a clip.
I'm not about that.
No, but you're absolutely right, and I love that you made that comment about it being organic, because so often we think to ourselves like, oh, anyone wants to give back. We all love to help, but where your source of desire to give back comes from is huge, because your approach is going to be different. If you're really out here to connect with the people, you're going to be about the people and what you're giving back to them and the quality of the service you're providing. But like you said, if you're out here because, hey, I like giving back, let's make sure we get this picture. Like, marketing is important. Let's be real. I think nonprofits, especially community organizations, need to be intentful with their marketing. There's a reason why we all know Coca-Cola and we don't know all the nonprofits.
Yeah.
So marketing is huge with it. But I think the message you put out, what you portray, and who you partner with is a big part of that. So I love the fact that you said it's organic. When you say you work with those who are organic, and kind of filling in the space, like, what's your guiding star in that type of area? Now, is it something like just watching how they operate, seeing how they previously move, or you read energy when you're talking to people? How do you kind of say, okay, this is the person I want to work with?
It's all of that, actually. It's definitely research,
Mhm.
because people have done their research on me when they seek me out,
Mhm.
or they come to me with an idea, which is
Yeah.
like, you should.
Yeah.
And I definitely do my research. Also the energy in the conversation. And, sometimes people will talk to you and they'll basically, what do they say? They'll share a lot more about themselves through what they're not saying.
Ooh.
So it's definitely being intuitive and reading all of those signs and seeing if kind of like the styles match.
Yes.
Yes, like I had a conversation with someone because something else I'm trying to develop is a musical event, but trying to feature artists of color. So that's something I'm trying to do. And I'm working with someone lovely, but I had to let them know, hey, I'm not available at 11 p.m. to
Yes.
chat. I'm sorry. I'm probably in my fourth dream.
Mm.
Like I'm not.
Yeah, I'm asleep. I'm gone. Let me go.
And maybe I'm not, but I just can't.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty myself. I sent a message late one time.
Yeah.
I love how you incriminate yourself on the show. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, I mean,
We
I don't
be
mean
honest.
it.
We be
You're being
honest.
honest. I'm glad you're living your truth, though. I appreciate you. For
Oh, you
doing
sent
it.
me a message late?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I think it was about the photos.
Yeah, and I had to let you know, hey, I was in my fourth dream then. This is when, and it's really important to establish boundaries, but
Definitely,
also
definitely, yeah.
let people
Yes.
know how you work. So it's reading all of those signs and definitely the aura and the vibe.
Mm.
So with this person, I had to let them know, hey, I'm not available at this time. Please, whatever business we're doing, I need it to be emailed because I can't do this text message back and forth, and I can't do this scrolling through DMs.
Oh,
And
yes.
that's just the way I operate.
Yeah, I know.
And they were like, okay, I understand. And we had a conversation. I was like, hey, it's nothing against you.
Yes.
But I just don't.
Business.
It's just business.
Yeah.
And, but I still think she's lovely. I was like, yeah, I'm going to work with you because the vibes are right. The intention is there.
Yeah.
The collaboration, the spirit,
Mm-hmm.
it's all there.
Yes.
So it's very much reading those signs, doing the research, and really trying to find out, is the intention right?
Mm.
Can I align with that? Can I really gel with that?
Yeah.
I had to turn something down recently where I know this person wants a photo op.
Mm.
And I had to look at it and say, hey, I know it's a situation where everyone is going to be paid and I'm not. Why is that?
Wow.
Why is that?
I mean, yes. Why is that? That is such a good question.
Why is that?
Because I wanted to bring that up because what I've learned in this space is there are so many strong women of color that do this work more than men. I'm putting out there, men, y'all are just not showing up the way you should. But I feel like the women are almost, there's an expectation there. Like, no, you love this work. You love doing this stuff, and they may not pay you or support you in that asset. How much of that have you experienced through your journey? And usually when something like that does pop up, how do you deal with it?
So I don't attribute the word strong as a characteristic that I follow.
Okay.
Right? The word strong is very dismissive towards Black women. And there is this myth built around our identity of us being strong, self-sacrifice, and being able to endure discomfort and despair. And I don't attribute myself to that.
No, please. I
That's
appreciate
not-
you sharing that. Thank you very much.
Yes, very much so. But I am focused.
Yes.
And I take up space, and I don't allow anyone to try to make me feel like I have to make myself small.
Yes.
But I also am someone who has feelings.
Yes.
And I matter, and I, deserve self-care and all of the good things that all other women who look different than me get when their femininity is recognized. So yes, I just wanted to say that.
No, please. Yeah. Thank you. I think it's a lot. I appreciate you sharing that with me, and I think a lot of people out there need to hear it.
Absolutely. But to get back to your point, most of what I do is not for profit. Mm-hmm. Many of the money I make from Open Mic, I bring right back into my community initiatives. Mm-hmm. But when you want me to host something, and when you want me to do a talk, I do charge, right? And it really depends on the situation. Like if it's not a ticketed event and it's totally free, I don't mind doing it, especially if the cause is right.
Yep.
And honestly, the more that I do, it will highlight me. So just like we were talking about, you have to market.
Yep.
I have to market myself to a certain extent.
Absolutely. You're a brand.
Yes, exactly. But, there was an event where this woman wanted me to say a couple of poems and also be on a panel. It was a ticketed event. Mm-hmm. She had these speakers, and I know, based on the speakers, and they have rates. I did my research because I want to research what exactly I'm going to be a part of.
Yep.
Who's going to be a part of it.
Yep.
Because I have to make sure, once again, I'm aligning myself with people who I feel like share the same message that I have, and the intention is there. Some of the people were definitely not people I felt comfortable working with.
Okay.
Or sharing space with.
Yeah.
And they had rates, speaking rates. So I was like, so you don't want to pay me? There was no then oh, I'm going to donate to this event. This is the way that we can kind of, there are bartering situations.
Yes, absolutely.
Makes sense. If you're telling me, hey, I'm going to donate all this food to your next event, or I'm going to, donate money or just have volunteers, sure, why not? But there was none of that. And I was like, okay, thanks for reaching out to me, but I'm not available for this.
Ooh,
I'm available when it comes to ticketed events.
Yes.
These are my rates, and unfortunately, some of your speakers do not align with my personal mission. And I was very honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because a lot of people like to beat around the bush and be passive aggressive. I am not.
No, not at all. I mean, the level of honesty that you bring to the table, especially the way you conduct business, is extremely, I'm not sure what word to use. I want to say admirable, but I'm like, I don't even know if that's the right word at this point, but it's inspiring and encouraging. Because I know just as a business owner starting a nonprofit, I was in that space where I was quiet. And I would be afraid to ask for certain things or stand up in certain spaces if I was uncomfortable. And it was something I had to learn over time. To be where you are, like, how did you get to this place of that level of security, willing to let go of things that didn't serve you and just saying, I'm only going to do what aligns with me and where I feel valued in this situation. And just having, I guess you could say, that confidence to just be like, no, I'm good. Thank you. Have a nice day.
So I've always been pretty much confident in myself. I don't, that sounds kind of cliche, but I think that what's always helped me is I've never really cared about what people have thought about me.
No, continue, because we need the secret sauce on that. I'm gonna tell you.
I haven't. I've always been in a battle with myself and in the mirror. So there have been situations in my life, I can't even recall high school, eons ago, where I've had people kind of tell me, hey, you were so confident in high school. And I was like, really? Because I know I was battling with stuff internally, but I just never really cared. Hey, I don't like, it's just okay, that's your problem. It's just okay. How does that, what do you want me to say to that?
Yeah.
But it's a lot of growth and a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say trial and error again, but kind of situations that make you realize that a lot of people operate from a place of insecurity and they project a lot of that. And it is not anyone's responsibility to coddle their insecurity or soothe whatever internal struggles they have, because when they see you, you unfortunately awaken what they lack. That is not your responsibility.
It is not.
So once I realized, hey, I'm not going to apologize for being amazing or being good at what I do or for anything about myself, because it's taken me a lot of inner work to get to this place. You just have to, as the youth say, talk to the lady and figure it out.
What is going on? No, that is oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna take a moment. We're gonna take a moment on that one. I don't rush past them. When you dropping knowledge like that, there's no rush here.
Hey, look, going back on what we said previously, hey, most people can't talk to people because they can't talk to themselves. So,
And I've always looked at like there are so many people I admire, right? That I've always thought to myself when I see these people, not, oh man, they think they're this. It's like, wow, how can I be at a place where I am that level of good at what, perhaps what I admire about them, or I feel that great, or I can come into that room and not, feel like I don't belong. And it's taken a lot of inner work, but I know I belong in all spaces.
Yeah.
Whether or not you want to see me there, that's like
ooh,
the problem.
wow.
But
'Cause that's a huge topic we discuss a lot on the show. And I can even share with myself in my experiences to this day. I mean, I'm very blessed to have the opportunities I have. I've gotten to do documentaries and docuseries and film people. I've filmed people where I've been like, I've watched you. Like, I've been to your restaurant. I have your cell phone number now? What do you mean call you if I'm coming in? This is crazy. And like,
Gordon Ramsay?
I'm not throwing names out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
he's trying to
You're gonna hook
He's trying to hype you
Jacob
up.
from Jacob's Pickles.
Okay.
He owns Jacob's Pickles and he owns Amazon Pickles in the city. Two of my favorite restaurants in the city. I actually did a small piece on him for Time Market, the interview.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, yeah, man. He's like, thank you for this, man. He's like, take my number. If you guys are around, we'll hook you up at the restaurant. And immediately I'm like, yo, I've been going to this guy's restaurant for years. And I immediately came home and I was like, hun, oh my God. Like, you'll never guess who I filmed, and I got his cell phone number. Like, we got to go to the restaurant.
Amazing.
And it was in that point where, like, it took me a minute to start looking around and going, how did I get here? Like, and there were definitely moments where I sat and just was like, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, but I would question my ability to fulfill my responsibilities when being in those rooms. And I realized, like, I'm here because, I didn't always realize that AJ was a big part of pointing us out at the end of a, 12-hour day.
Yeah,
He was like,
a long day.
He's like, Chris, like, they pay you to be here.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he goes, like, for real, like they call you to do this. All the people they could call, they call you.
To move like so.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there exhausted with all this food around us. And going, I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, they wanted us to be here. And it's something that, like, I've been able to go through. I believe there's still some days where I'm just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say anything. Like, I'll just leave it alone. I don't want to mess it up. But you're right. It is a complete journey of learning it. And as you continue to grow, you'll have to continue to grow more in it. And we love talking about that stuff here. We think talking about your journey is so important because it does shed light on the experiences through it. And you talk about being intuitive, being in your purpose and things like that. How much has your spiritual journey or just your journey at all affected or the outcome in which you have or impacted who you are today?
I've realized that every moment that I questioned like a situation or an individual and I didn't follow my intuition, things went wrong. And I really had to sit with that. And when I saw like kind of like one time, okay, to like, wait, you keep on putting your hand in fire and wondering why you're getting burned, right? Like nothing changes if nothing changes. Like you have to really trust yourself. That's what I told myself in the mirror. And realize that, hey, you might not really have the words to put to why you are feeling unsure about this situation, but you're feeling unsure. And like, that's enough. And really realizing that it's not always fear. Something happened, something was said, something was done. You found out something, but you're trying to push that back to try to justify why this situation would work and trying to figure out why I'm trying to justify it. Realizing that all work is not necessary. It's probably not a choice you should make. Like sometimes we mistaken our busyness for productivity, and that's not always the case.
You run in place. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like you can just like be going nowhere, but you're doing many things. So
that's a heavy note because the only way to know the difference of that is to sit still for a second and say, okay, I'm exhausted and I did all this stuff. How far did it get me?
What are most people doing? Constantly moving. No time to sit still. Netflix, YouTube, TikTok. Just sitting, just not.
But this society will make you feel like it's necessary to keep moving. Like if you're not posting all the time, people don't see you everywhere. Like there was a moment when I like first started meeting people that I was out all the time, just trying to make these connections and meet people and people to see me and be like, hey, I'm like a good person. Like I want to finally get this connection so I can do this event or like get this rolling. And it's like, you know what? I don't need to go everywhere.
Let me sit back and let them.
That
come
is
to me
so
real
true.
quick.
That is so true. And I thought about that the other day because same thing. When I first started out, I was everywhere. I'm gonna attend every event. I'm gonna shake everyone's hand. I'm gonna network. I'm gonna know tons of people. I was hoping that would get me where I wanted to be. And it wasn't until I switched to focusing on the work and just execution that like people started finding me. People saying, "Hey, I did that. You guys did that thing. I saw it, man. That was really cool." Like, and what I've realized, or at least what I've observed, is that if you're in it to look like you're doing the work, you're going to be everywhere because you have to appear bigger than you are. You have to be like, this guy's at every event. This guy's doing all these things. Whereas if you are actually doing the work will speak for itself. And then the people that are looking to do more of the work will seek you out. And it kind of does free up that extra time, like you said, for self-care, for being with your family, for prioritizing your individual needs instead of saying, no, I got to be everywhere to try to grow in this industry. And to that point, with social media, with everything going on and everything that you have going on, how do you find the balance with everything?
Well, definitely, like, no one texted me at 11 at night. I put on the DND. It's like, hey, after 9, I'm not available.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, trying to ensure that certain information is in certain places, like really honoring the way that my body and mind is able to process information. Being very intentional of just like putting my phone away. Like I don't need to always have my phone or like, computer up. There was like a time where like we didn't have these things, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
I was at the end of that.
I was gonna say you had a twinkle in your daddy's eye at the time, but we had like
I was born in 2000, so I was at like the very end of it. So I got to experience no phones for a little bit, and then it switched right over. Yep.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
good. That's what I'm talking about.
At the very beginning. Yep.
Okay, all right.
Even at school.
That's
Like,
why that explains a lot.
I was still going to school with no phone.
Just can't shut the doors though.
Nah.
I'm letting you go. I'm letting you go.
The doors, right?
Can't slam the doors.
But like we come from a generation where we played outside, right?
Absolutely.
We saw like it transition from the indestructible Nokia that could be a weapon and or
Yes.
like last forever.
Yes.
To the like razor, to the sidekick, to the
Yes.
chirp, and like we know the beepers. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my God,
Like,
seriously.
I used to always beat my mom, man. She worked in a hotel. I would beat her. Be like, hey, can I go outside?
I ain't get to see
Can I
that
go play?
Bring beepers back.
I know, bring beepers back. But yes, like setting those boundaries and like putting the phone away. And one of the things that I like remember with my mom, because she passed like in 2015, but she always had to work. She didn't have a lot of time to like play with us.
Yeah.
And I just love making those memories with my daughter, having those photos and like being present. And
Yes.
I don't remember like a lot of early childhood moments where like I played with my mom. She was always working. She had like 6 kids, and she was very much like, I came to this country, I brought you all here.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that you all forge ahead, which I'm so thankful for.
Absolutely.
But, having experienced that, I definitely want to break that generational,
Yes.
we have to like work so hard and not spend time with our children and just sacrifice all of these important family moments. So,
That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. And it's a lesson, it's a lesson I find myself learning now. Because I think with the last 3, no, that's a lie. I always kind of section off my life and I forget about all this work I did beforehand. But yeah, I remember I've been working steadily since I got into college, just nonstop, whether it was in college and working and DJing and in fraternity life at the same time. I got out in the banking world. I'm training and working 6 days a week, trying to get ahead. And then I get ahead and then I leave banking and I'm like, well, I'm going to DJ. And I just make music and DJ for 16 hours a day. And then I'm like, fast forward, I'm like, all right, I'm joining the railroad. And that was 20 months of the hardest training. Then I was out working around the clock. Wow. So it was just years of work. And then when I finally said, all right, I'm following my path. I'm gonna go after what I want. It was just literally the last 3 years of nothing but 16-hour days, constant go, go, go. And it wasn't only until recently now where me and my girlfriend are expecting. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think this is probably the second episode I've actually mentioned that.
Oh my goodness.
A little Easter egg. So it was only until that moment where I'm like, oh God, I can't do this forever. There's no way in the world. Like, I have my 2 stepkids in there, bonus kids, not stepkids, my bonus kids, where they're older. So like, I don't have to beg them to hang out with me, but like they're older. So they kind of they're starting to develop into finding their lives. So I'm there when we can have those bonding moments. We're doing trips, we're going places. But I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a life from start that everything I do will impact, and what he sees will be an example.
Yay!
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So it's,
gosh.
thank you. And I was like, this is like, it brings life into perspective. What happened?
No, I was saying CJ because
The name?
Yep.
Why you trying to give everything on the show?
That's
We're
what I said.
not
They don't know
dropping
everything.
nothing. We're not dropping any more
they don't know-
info.
they don't know nothing.
Nothing else. You're going to be cut off. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to cut your mic.
Believe it or not, my mic was actually cut off until not too long ago.
Don't tell me that. We lost all the...
So it was like super low. It might still pick up.
We'll get it through. People know that...
It'll be through one of the
People
mics.
know that AJ whispers. That's fine. But no, it
I
wasn't...
realized it when I was looking at it though.
I mean, it's hot outside. We're gonna blame. We're gonna blame that. It's hot in here.
Oh
it's
my
hot
goodness.
in here. But so no, we don't. That's why we keep the shows rolling. But to that note, like once you do have that life that you're guiding and introducing to the world and being an example for, and now I realize like, nah, I can't come home at 10 o'clock at night every night for like 6 days a week. I can't and have one day for my family. Like how much of that young person's life am I not going to see? Not going to be a part of. And even now with my nephew, just seeing him once a week and seeing him grow and how he changes and the way he interacts is like wild. And I'm like, I see this dude once a week and I'm blown away. What happens when I have one every single day in front of me? And it has changed my outlook. I still have my same drive, my same level of work, but the intentfulness I carry with trying to make sure I have time for my family is a lot different. And that's why, like, right now things are falling into place, so I can have a little more time with my family. But they kind of still know that there's going to be, like, periods where I'm like, the next 3 months, you're going to be, I'll see you on Sundays, so we'll work around it. But it is definitely something I think our generation is starting to hold on to a little bit more. They appreciate it. It's a little bit weird, right? Because there's, like, this buffer. And I don't know if you've noticed this. There's, like, this buffer where it's the parents before us. The parents before us that now have young kids, and then the parents that after us, where there's like one is like super into television and another one's super into phones, and you're like, okay, neither of you guys go outside, and we're stuck in this sweet spot. Like, so we grew up right before technology, so we're aware, but we still like going outside. So our kids will be like us, but the before and after,
Oh my God,
we're just gonna be like. Just, okay, they'll be inside all the time. And I feel like it's the most wildest thing society has to portray and has to offer. Like, with you being so deeply rooted into arts and doing Mocha Mike with Millie, like, how do you envision the youth getting involved into such events like you have?
So my goal is to get enough grants so it can be free and accessible. And also, I'm so lucky to be partnering, again, with Jersey City Library because I've done many workshops with them. Poetry workshops and also other children events. And coming in the fall, some teen poetry open mic events. I'm very excited to be partnering with them.
I'll be there.
You'll be there?
Yep.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. You know, so I primarily work with early childhood. So I've taught like as young as 2. That's back when I was younger. But right now, first grade teacher and early childhood has always been my thing.
Okay.
But when I did the poetry workshop for National Poetry Month back in April, they were like 7th and 8th grade. And I hadn't worked 7th and 8th grade like forever. And it was just so wonderful to just kind of see how interested they were into it all and just allow them to have those connections and really kind of get a moment to like pause and reflect. And they were so into it. And they were like an ESL class as well. And it was like really interesting how I was able to just kind of create that lesson plan and make it engaging for them. And then I realized too, it's like once they reach like adolescence, they're kind of like lost. a little bit as
Mm.
far as with like these really engaging interactive programming that they can get into. It's kind of like, all right, you can like walk and no one has to supervise you. Like go do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe if we had more programming just for them, that was like developmentally appropriate and age appropriate, they would realize that they're not so limited to just like being in school or being online. And
Yeah.
it's such like a trying time to be so young. Like when we were growing up, we
Mm.
didn't have like the pressure of social media
Yep.
and we didn't have all this mass information being disseminated to us like 24/7.
Absolutely.
I think like when I was like in high school, we had like something called Skonex, which was from New York. I don't know if guys had that in Jersey.
I do not even know what that is.
Yes, I told someone else that, and they were like, "Hold on, how do you?" But anyway, it's like that was like a social media thing for high school, and it was like so bizarre. Like we had to like use all these proxies to get onto it. When
Oh
we were
my
younger.
goodness.
I think we had something coming up in high school. It's like you can connect with like you can not log in, but you can put your school in, and then you'll have chats based off of your school. I think it was something like that.
It's very similar. And then
that's what we had. So you can join other schools.
I went to
It was wild. It was
school in the
wild.
burbs. I don't think we had that.
Nah, y'all school was probably on there too.
Nah, probably.
It likely was. And then, we came up with the beginning of MySpace, which was
Oh
like, you're all
yes.
coding.
Oh yes.
Oh, man, what a good
Oh,
time.
yes.
Our
HTML.
top five. We were like, all right, it's like, if you were my top five, I'm mad at you.
Right.
Put the song in the background.
Oh my God.
Vibes. But it still wasn't as intense as what they're experiencing now.
Yeah.
So, like, having that programming, I think, is so important. And then that's why I really, like, cherish my partnership with Jersey City Library because, like, they're really getting great people in there and also
Yeah.
people from the community. And it's so diverse and varied so that they'll see you and say, hey, like, all right, you're a little older than me, but you're not old enough where I feel like you're preaching to me. You're not aware of, like, what I'm going through. And, yeah, so I'm really excited for that, to have them involved and also get some teen poets in there.
Yes.
One event I did last year with West Bergen Branch Library, which I've collaborated with them many times, was that we had like a marquee day for the teens. So I got like this teen poet from Staten Island. She's great. Man, can't believe I can't remember her name right now. But she's awesome.
It's
and
gonna pop up later.
It will, and I'm gonna be like, man,
always
I
be like
didn't
that.
remember that on the
Tag her in the
interview.
comments below. Tag her
I
in the
know.
comments.
But she had some books published also in Jersey
Wow,
City.
congrats.
She came through and she talked to the kids. So it was like a great event, and they saw someone like, they saw me, they saw someone closer to their age, and let them see that like, hey, there are no limitations to what you can be.
Absolutely.
You can have all these varied interests and express yourself through, whether it's through art, through poetry, through music, however, you feel like you best want to express yourself. So
I love that. I love that so much because I feel like the arts are one of the most untapped resources we have for both healing, self-exploration, and just expression. And there's one thing that you said where like just writing poetry gave them time to reflect. And we don't always think that way, right? Because if you're writing, you're just expressing something, but you really have to slow down. You have to be present. You have to say, what am I feeling? What's coming to me? What do I need to bring out into the world? And yeah, I don't think we have enough programs kind of engaging in that as much. It's not I don't want to say it's not cool, but it's not lucrative. Being in a world that's very much image driven and money driven, you got to be super talented, know the right people, and get the right deals to get to that part in life. But I think it's still an imperative piece for us to have. So, I mean, thank you for doing the work you're doing, getting them involved. So I want to do one thing I want to ask is for anyone that's looking to get involved in the type of work you do, they want to start something. What advice would you give them?
that's a great question. So I would definitely tell them to take time and sit down and think about why they want to do what they want to do. I think it's really easy for people to compare themselves to other people and say, hey, this person is doing this person is doing that, I want to do it. But do you really want to do it? Or are you just like motivated by that person or inspired? With Mocha Mic with Millie, it wasn't in my mind initially to have an open mic. I just enjoyed going to them and supporting other people. But I went to so many and I was like, wow, there are not that many spaces where people like look like me in those spaces or it feels so welcome in. Some of the, spaces, it's like you have to be like a slam poet. It's like, I'm not slamming. I'm not competing. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't memorize as good as I used to.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted it to be a welcoming space and also a space curated by a Black woman because you can always see that. So when I finally settled down, I said I wanted to do it. I knew why I wanted to do, create the space and do it. So really being clear about your intentions and why you want to do it. Not allowing someone else's like perception of you or what you think they think to stop you. We kind of went, going back to like the imposter syndromes and or like doubting yourself. I did have moments on my journey when I was like, man, these people like don't trust me. But I could have allowed that to like stop me, or these people like don't want me to be here. And I had to realize, hey man, my presence is a present. Like, they're missing out if they would want me in this space.
That's right.
And it's a privilege, like, for me to even be in this space because I have so much to offer. So truly allowing, like, this, like, cliquish and or unwelcoming energy to not phase you. So definitely just kind of, like, staying steadfast in that thinking.
Yeah.
I would say also trying your best to be organized, however that is, in whatever way that is.
Yes.
I love to take notes. I have Google Docs and maybe you want to do a talk to text. Maybe you want to like go old school and have a calendar notebook. As opposed to like something in your phone. Be organized and like take your time. You're only in a race with yourself. No one else. And that's has definitely helped me. It's taken me from like 5 events in a month to a lot less, where I was like, why am I doing so much? Like, am I trying to like do it all for myself, or am I trying to impress someone else? Or like, so once I kind of got that into my mind and realized that, I said, okay, I can slow down because you cannot pour from an empty cup. I can only do as much as my body and mind can allow me to do. So really taking your time and being intentional. The quality of your work is better than the quantity of your work. So when you take your time and you're really, really sure about what you want to do and you're intentional, it'll all come together. Yeah, so that's all.
Oh my goodness. I loved it. And I think truer words had never been spoken. So I definitely appreciate you for sharing with that. I want to leave it on that note, but I don't want to leave because we're gonna end the show on a different note than normal. Because Mocha Mic with Millie isn't just an open mic, but you yourself perform. So you have your time. There's your camera. If you want to look out into the people, you want to perform a piece for us, we're more than happy. You'll send us off for the day, and we'll do a little outro and say bye to the people.
Yes. So this poem is called Manners. A surefire way to activate my crazy is to not say good morning. Do not just start talking at me, talk to me. I come from the old school where using your manners are important. Where if I did not say good morning or responded with what, I heard fins in Twi, which basically translated to, child, you better speak to me properly and with respect. Needless to say, my mom and dad didn't play those kind of games. Their hands were wrinkled and tired as my dad pushed mail in boxes, paper cuts galore. He would sit with his hand folded on his lap, weary of his work, tired of the sameness as he contemplated the sacrifices he made, content that it was worth it. My mom, she had strong hands that crushed spices in a mortar with a pestle and pounded the yams and cassava as she made fufu and nkatakwine soup or lai soup. And she would play a game with my siblings sometimes. We would sit in a circle and she would sing, Si Nanoko. And she used her hands to tap all of our legs. It would continue, Ta ta bukanum, 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 pre. She would tap each of our legs, and if your leg got tapped, the leg would be out of the game. Bukanum, 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 pre, ajamanse, ayabunko. Yam yam yo, yam yam me, tu fum ye brebe tum. Eventually, the player with the last remaining leg would win the game. It doesn't seem fair the way she would soak her hands in Epsom salt and moisturize to soothe away the burdens of the day. I think of those hands and how they were bruised and troubled with work, limitations and fatigue, how I too have hands that are plagued with work and worry. Halted by struggle, I think of those hands that crossed the body of water from me and my siblings, hands that even in foreign lands maintained their identity and culture and language, hands that cultivated and activated opportunity that tried to elude them because of their hue. I think about those hands that felt the weight of the world, only longed for rest and respect. So no, say good morning. Share all the acknowledgments, salutes, and head nods. Say it 2 times if you're unsure. Because in a world where we're constantly drained of our ability to create and our humanity, there is nothing ever wrong with saying good morning. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, what a way to end this show. Seriously. I mean, I don't want to say bye no other way now. Nah, seriously. But Millie, we have to thank you so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure. Just having you share your story with us, giving us a little bit more detail into your life, your thinking, into your world. I appreciate all the gems you shared with us. I think it'll open up a lot of our minds into life and perspectives and to maybe find a little balance for ourselves. So what I would love for you, I know you looked right in the camera. You can look in the camera, tell the people where they can find you, what you have going on, and just so they can stay in contact.
Yeah, so you can follow me at Mocha Mike with Millie on Instagram, and also my government account, Millicent, MILLICENT_ANSAH, the number 24. I'm going to be launching my website very soon, so that will be in my bio as well. And just to leave you all off with something, just remember that kindness is transformative, and oftentimes in this life, there are so many moments where we feel like we don't want to be kind, but that truly changes life, and it's a great ripple to help others and help yourself. So I hope you can be kind.
Awesome. So, Millie, we want to thank you again. Just an awesome pleasure. And we're definitely going to see you soon. We're going to promote some of your events. I know we're going to be partnering with you in the future, do some more stuff as well.
Thank you guys for this.
Oh, absolutely.
I so look up to all that you do, and I think it's wonderful that you're able to highlight different community members, and just you're doing amazing then. So I'm so happy to partner with you, and also just kudos to all that you both do.
And also to add, there's an event coming up. I'll post it somewhere, so it'll be next to one of you guys' face.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold
on. Yes.
I had to mention it, so
Mocha Mike Millie. Mocha Mike Millie. Like we said, every third Thursday.
If you guys didn't see it there, you guys will also see it
every third Thursday. All the camera angles every Thursday. But that's going to be our show for this week, ladies and gentlemen. AJ, do you have anything for the people before we send them off?
Oh, man. Not really. I don't have any.
The man is content, though. I'm not mad about it.
My thing is, this is one of those shows where it's just like, I'm just sitting.
I'm
here,
good.
I'm taking it
right?
in.
I'm good. I'm not even mad.
Especially after that poem. Come
right?
on now.
I'm not even mad.
Now I'm about to go home and say goodnight.
You should. It's about that time, bro. Not even gonna lie. But no, Millie, thank you again for coming on the show. AJ, always a pleasure to have you back in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be our show for today. If you liked what you saw and you stayed in tune this long, we're going to ask you to do the same thing we always do. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and don't be afraid to click the link below in the bio. Check out Millie's stuff. And check out Mocha Mike with Millie every third Thursday in Jersey City. Check her out on social media. Get in touch if you want to come out and support. We're always looking for people to get into the space, especially if your heart is in the right place. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Christopher Jefferson. This is another episode of State Aloud. Nothing but love, and always peace.